welcome back to the channel. My name is Sharon, an artist from Canada. Today I'm going to answer one of the most frequently asked questions I get from social media. How do I find the time to do art? And how do I balance between motherhood and being an artist? Well, the short answer is I make time. But really, the purpose of this video is to share with you some routines and tips that I found really helpful for me as I'm trying to figure out how to balance between motherhood and also being artist. And hopefully these tips will be helpful for those of you not only who are starting off that motherhood journey or maybe trying to figure out a balance between work or school. And before we begin, as always, if you find these videos helpful, please consider like, subscribe, and sharing with other artists because it really helps the channel. So let's begin. I think I should start with the caveat that when I first started, I guess my journey in motherhood and being an artist, a lot of times I thought it was 1 + 1 = 2, as in you have 24 hours in a day and you either do work related to motherhood or you do work related to being an artist. And if you spend more time doing more motherhood related duties, you spend less time on being an artist. So over time, over the last few years, as my kids are growing up, and I've learned that it's not necessarily the case, and it's a total flipping concept that I've learned that it's not necessarily 1 + 1 = 2. In this case, I find that there is a synergistic action that happens between my job as a mother and also my job as an artist. For example, I find that my artistic background really helps with creative activities that I do with my kids. We draw together, we doodle together, we do a lot of like storytelling, and we play with their toys and create a whole background behind it, and it's a lot of fun. And I get a lot of inspiration from them as well as an artist. So some of my latest artwork has been inspired by the marvels that my children bring to me, how excited they are to see snow for the first time when they're learning to walk. And it's just so wonderful to see their reactions because they're experiencing these things for the first time, and I have kind of forgotten how that feels. So I get a lot of inspiration from my kids from my artwork. So as a result, I don't think necessarily it's 1 + 1 = 2. It's almost like 1 + 1 = like 3 or more, because I get so much from my kids, and I think the kids also gain some from my artistic background. So that's just the basic concept behind it. But now I'm going to go on some tips that I've learned along the way in my motherhood journey. Things I think I found very helpful was reshaping my mindset. I think moving from I have to do something, like I have to bring my kids to the potty, or like I have to change them, I have to shower them, to I get to do these things. Same thing for my artistic role as an artist. Like I don't have to sit down to do art. I get the opportunity to do art, and I think changing that mindset from have to get to really helps me enjoy the process so much more. So now I'm going to go on with some tips that I find really helpful. They're not in any particular order, but the first tip I would recommend is to create a routine. A lot of times in the beginning, I would think that, okay, I'll just do art at the end of the day or whenever I find spare time. But over time, I find that at the end of the day, I'm so tired. I just want to sit down on the couch and just mindlessly scroll through Instagram. Whereas I think if I have blocked off that time, let's say I get up a little bit earlier when the kids are asleep and I have that designated time to do a little bit of art in the morning, and I built that into my routine, I don't have to spend the rest of the day worrying about how I'm going to fit that into my day. So that's the first thing, creating a routine, finding a time you can block off for yourself. Now, the second thing I would recommend is to prepare ahead of time. So rather than when you sit down and you think about like, what do I need to draw and brainstorm, I usually think about what I want to draw throughout the day, and I write little notes on my to-do list on my phone, or I have a little notebook I write it down for, or I use Notion to write down ideas, or I use Pinterest to pin down concepts or like poses for people. so that once I sit down, I can just start drawing and not waste time brainstorming. So I think preparing ahead of time is really helpful. Another tip that I find very helpful is to start fully utilizing those mini breaks throughout the day. We get a lot of mini breaks throughout the day where it's 5 minutes or less, whether you're waiting at a doctor's office, waiting at a bus stop. These are not necessarily breaks you can do like a full piece of art, but it's a great time for you to plan your social media feed, or like for you to brainstorm some ideas and jot things down and just play with ideas. I think this goes nicely with like preparing yourself for the designated time you have to do your art. So utilizing those mini breaks throughout the day really does help. Another tip that I find really helpful is to make it easy for yourself. So remove any barriers that may prevent you from doing art. So for me, I have my art desk in my studio that looks like a total mess, but the thing is, there is an art to why everything is in this place, is that so that I know where my watercolor paper is. It's ready for me to go. Once I am ready to do art, I can just sit down and just start painting, and I have my water ready. So just create an environment, a place for you, so that it removes all the barriers, and once you sit down, you can just start doing your artwork and make it easy for yourself. Another tip I would recommend is stop saying yes to everything. And I don't know if this is like that for everybody, but for me, I tend to say yes to a lot of projects. I get really excited about it, and then I have too much on my plate. Remember that your time is precious. You only have a select amount of time to spend with your kids and also with your artwork. So choose what you spend your time on wisely. Make sure it's something that you feel that brings light to yourself and makes you really excited. So that's another thing I would recommend. Stop saying yes to every single thing and learn to say no if necessary. So those are some of the major tips I want to share with you. I hope you find it helpful in building it into part of your routine, whether you're going through motherhood and balancing with being an artist. Overall, the last final tip is to really enjoy the process. I guess the kids are only going to be young for so long, but like hopefully you can find a fine balance, because art can also help you be a de-stressor and also make you less anxious overall. So enjoy the process. I do want to also take this opportunity to thank my family. If it weren't for my husband, my mom, and also my brother, I don't think I would have the time to do art, given that they give me some of their time to like take care of the kids or deal with lunch or like clean up here and there. It really does help. And I think learning to say yes to help really create more time for me to do work and make it less stress. So that's it for my tips on how I am able to do art on the side. If you have anything you want to add or find other comments or advice that are helpful for people who are trying to figure out motherhood and being art at the same time, please feel free to add in the comments below. If not, I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye now.